Hello, I am checking in the midst of the rainstorm after work for the city we became, which I have indeed jumped forward. I think I did tracks 2 and 3, which was like chapter 2 or 3 of that, and I am now all the way up to chapter 8, track number like 12 or 11. Let's go to 11. And yes, we've met Staten Island, which is this white Republican is this manifestation who has a very, very racist father and probably has some racist things of her own, and has gotten tapped by the evil eldritch invasion creature from another dimension who isn't happy about the city, New York, becoming sentient. She was actually trying to leave the island to probably go seek out the other avatars, but the creature definitely was able to kind of work on her insecurities and everything like that and keep her on the island and possibly maybe infect her. It's not. She is probably the most wavery of the lot. Probably because she's the most xenophobic. It makes her the weakest and most easily prey for malign forces, which, you know, in itself is definitely a comment on the American political social situation at the moment, of a lot of xenophobic, fearful people getting preyed upon by people who are not looking out for their best interests. So we get that. We get, there's Brooklyn, there's the Bronx. Bronx is who we also get introduced to, who is an older black woman, I believe, who is an artist and has this collective, works at this collective, and what should come in but these white man bun bros with a bunch of really sexist, racist, horrific art, and they're trying to kick them out, and it's like, oh, but you got to see this piece, and finally they agree to see this piece, and I think it gets described as it's got a title of like the mechanisms of the mind, or I can't remember what it is, but it's apparently a Lovecraft reference, and it's how Lovecraft saw all the multi-ethnic, different kind of non-whites of the city, and he saw them as evil, corrupt races, which I know from reading Incident Red Hook, where indeed you can see really the sources of his fear and his horror coming from his really, really racist attitudes. But she's able to kind of push them out. She has an encounter with this outside force in a bathroom, one of the bathroom stalls, where it's in one of the bathroom stalls and it's completely white in there. She can't see what it is. She does finally kick it open, and there's suddenly like a tunnel going back. But it's this white thing, and it's threatening her. And, you know, she really kind of against it. But it really, this is where I started getting the idea of like, oh, this is Pennywise. This is Stephen King. And indeed, this is a lot of this book. I'm starting to think, oh, this is The Stand, and this is It, is what the vibe I'm getting from this. Of like, oh, okay. This is where some of this is coming from, and it's getting a little bit more clear because I'm starting to get more into the characters, which is good. I think having kind of pushed through a good hunk of this book has helped, because at the beginning is like, I'm really not connecting with the characters, but it's like, now I'm more connecting with the characters. So yes, we have that. They hook up the Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Manhattan, go over, and they see, what is it, a picture of this meme of a picture of some kind of weird thing in the back, in a pool in the backyard of somebody, and it is Queens. They get to Queens, where mathematician Indian lady looks out the window and sees that her neighbor's pool has got some kind of white, horrible creature in the bottom of the pool, and the kids are about to get consumed by it. And she manages to get over there, and using her mathematics and kind of stuff like that, and envisioning sort of a slippery surface between the kid and the this whiteness at the bottom of the pool, she's able to pull them free, and she saves them. And Manny and Brooklyn show up, and they're there, and they get together, they team up, and they go to Brooklyn's place, where she's got a couple of brownstones, and she looks out the window and sees, like, holy shit, because she's got two brownstones, and that she's got Brooklyn herself, she got herself Brooklyn, Queens, and I think it's Padma, and who is what she actually calls herself, Queen Padma, if that makes sense. Padma and Manny there, but she looks across to where her family is in the other one, and she sees these white spider creatures coming, and she goes across to them, and she taps into her power by rapping, because that's her old thing, and she was a rap star. Now she is a city councilor who's kind of fighting for a better Brooklyn through that. But she uses her rap power to banish them from Brooklyn. She can't do any more, because that's where her power is. Manny actually kind of taps into a thing earlier where it's like, oh, I was trying to almost unite everything, at which point he has a vision of New York, the kid we saw, the young black gay kid we saw at the beginning, who down in a subway station sleeping on newspapers, and it's like he gets a brief flash of him, but then it goes away. Manny actually gets a little twinge of, oh, this is who I was in my past. Apparently in his past he was someone who hurt people for the power, for the money. He didn't take pleasure from it, but it was something he was good at, which is he really realizes why he was good at threatening that asshole white woman who was trying to call the cops on them at the beginning in that battle in the Lone Woods, Last Woods section. It's like, oh, I do have that power, I have that sharpness, and apparently I was coming to the city to try and kind of get away from that part of my life, which is like, what many people do. It's another thing that kind of humanizes Manny, and it's like, he doesn't want to really know his old name, he doesn't want to look at his cell phone and there's text messages on it, he doesn't want to particularly answer them, because it's like, that's an old life, and he's not really sure if he really wants to go back to that. He might actually just want to be Manny now. But they all realize now that there's the 5 boroughs, and what they need to do is get all the 5 boroughs together so they can find the 6th of them, which is New York, the city, the full avatar of the city. We've also get a little section where San Paulo actually arrives, and he goes to he goes to Queens, to their family, and says like, oh, where are they? He manages to gain their trust enough, and it's like, they've gone off to find Queens. It's like, well, okay, then I better go try and find Staten Island, because there's something that's prowling after them, and Staten Island's going to need the help. I don't know how San Paulo is going to do with a deeply racist Republican white avatar, though, because that's going to be dangerous. But I think that kind of sums up all the stuff. I'm a lot more invested in it. I'm glad that I've kind of powered through a good hunk of it, and I will indeed continue powering through. But yes, I think the thing that comes across now is like, this is Stephen King ish. It's that kind of a fantasy. I call it fantasy. I mean, they dress it up with dimensional stuff of like, there's different dimensions, and they can see the city as a city. They can just see it regular people, and that there's creatures from different realities, which I think is where the Eldritch woman in white comes from, who wants to destroy them all, and is indeed offers Bronx, like, hey, if you just join with me, I'll make sure your family doesn't die while everyone else dies. Kind of that evilness. So we got an antagonist. We have our protagonist, who I'm starting to gain better pictures of. So I'm actually kind of happy about that, which is good, because some of my other reading at the moment, I'm a little bit. He knew he was right, and Small Game Hunting at the local Coward Gun Club. On both of those books, I'm a little more struggling with. Trollop less so. It's definitely Small Game Hunting at the local Coward Gun Club, which I'm only halfway through, but I feel like I've been slogging through, is the one that's like, this is tough, but I'm going to continue with that, because, hey, Canadian content, gotta love that. All right, I will leave it for now. Good night.